Hello, I'm Dr. Bond. This is the Bond Report. Today is BAFA number 22, BAFA being by assholes for assholes, something out of nothing. And this is a study of a little subset of untruth, or a big subset of untruth. Bette Midler saying it, I never know how much of what I'm saying is true. There's a lot of comments on how untruth greases the wheels of society. And really the only statements you can trust, said Winston Churchill, or the only statistics you can trust are the ones you falsified yourself. There's also lying by words. In the third season of The Sopranos, somebody's kid robs a poker game and they kill him. And this was a son of the friend, a complicated story. But Junior's talking to Tony at the end. He says, I said that kid was stupid. And Tony said, well, the mother told me he had a learning disability or something like that. And Junior said, that's what stupid is, right? So there's sort of a mission by untruth. There's also Lord Chesterfield saying, this is the grease that makes the gears turn. Without some dissimulation, no business can be carried on at all. And Fuller, 1600s, 1700s, he resolved to deal with none but honest men must leave off dealing. That melancholy truth. Pascal said it the best, if everyone knew everything that everybody says about everybody else, there wouldn't be 4 friends in the world. That's just a true statement. Seinfeld, a show about nothing. This is a show about something. But if you can have a whole show about nothing, we can certainly derive even a paper that you hear about nothing. How small can a topic be before it just simply disappears? Today's topic really is about what we call the Goebbels number. I'm sure my pronunciation's not bad. One of the most loathsome creeps that humanity has ever produced is Joseph Goebbels, but he elucidated a few unfortunate, melancholy truths of how to convincingly convince people of something that's not true, regardless of its total unbelievability, total falsity, not even plausible sounding. And his 3 great things were keep it short and simple. The bigger the lie, the better, and paradoxically, the more believable. And repeat your lie constantly. Keep it simple, but keep it constantly repeated. This melancholy truth. And the Goebbels number, I kept this picture of him in there because that looks like a guy that farts himself and then looks around a little group and says, who farted? And is trying to give the accusing stare, knowing it's him all along. And that's, I think, a fairly good representation. This correlates with a thing called the Goebbels number. And this is where the worldwide field work is constantly being done on this concept. But everywhere, the Goebbels number, simply put, means the number of verbal repetitions that your untruth goes through before it actually turns into something real and tangible and physical. It's never been done, so it comes on, if you repeat it often enough, it not only gets believed, but does it become physically, measurably, physically true? Does it exist? The field work on this is being done. Think of all the untruth you hear around you constantly every day. Eat at Joe's, our shampoo is better, thrown out into the atmosphere by a huge number of people trying to create something. And we still haven't reached, the guys in the other slide are building a pyramid. You're working with a huge number of people trying to build this Goebbels number. When does it come into actual physical being, saying it often enough? And once again, we have the pyramid analogy. To this date, the Goebbels number has been quite elusive. We know it's very large because humanity has been trying to do that in its huge number of people for more or less since people were able to speak. So we still haven't reached the Goebbels number. If you say it often, but the field work continues on building this pyramid. That correlates with several basic concepts to this day. How does it come into being? The number of times something must be said to bring it into actual physical being, something out of nothing but repeated talk, repeated lies, repeated language, and move into the air worldwide. Advertising alone This is going to be some huge exponent of 10. And the field work can be regarded, all the bullshit that you hear can be regarded as the field work as humanity tries to achieve the Goebbels number. We're building that pyramid to try to get there. And advertising alone, but just people talking. We're throwing this out. Repeat your lie. Keep it simple. Keep it not even overly plausible. But since it hasn't been reached ever, with all of that effort, it is truly a huge number. Avogadro's number, which is 6 times 10 to the 23rd, will pale in comparison, that's a lot of bullshit. And it's still, the field work continues to try to produce that number more or less frantically all of that time. As stated in Melancholy Truth, number 2, the bigger the lie, the better. Here we're sitting around the radio listening to Dr. Goebbels one day. Well, gee, honey, they couldn't say something that crazy if it wasn't true, could they? They couldn't say that if it wasn't true. There must be a grain of truth in that. I've heard it before. I've heard it several times. There must be a grain of truth in that, even though it sounds crazy. Melancholy Truth, number 2 there, but there's all 3. Thank you very much. This has been a Bond Report. Please subscribe.